In this instructional video, you will learn how to throw a Frisbee and how to catch it in multiple different ways. We will all have a blast. First, let's begin with our target thrower person. Now, they must throw the Frisbee towards a catcher that is probably standing this way. So, first and foremost, before we even start with the Frisbee, we need to correct the stance. Now, she is standing towards her catcher, but to throw a Frisbee, you cannot stand towards your catcher. You must decide which arm you're throwing your Frisbee with. So, show me. Right-handed, right arm. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to stand at a 90-degree angle and turn towards the arm you're not throwing with, so that the arm you are throwing with can point directly at your target. All right, now that your student is in the proper throwing stance, we can introduce the Frisbee. Now, I would recommend a nice plastic disc, as these are inexpensive and very pliable. Now, I will get the person to come hold the Frisbee. Now come closer, you have to see this. So, do we hold our Frisbee like this? No. What we have to do is have a proper grip. To have a proper grip, we need to have our thumb on top, okay? Our pointer finger pointed out so that they can nicely point out the catcher, and our bottom fingers can rest underneath like this. Now that is a proper grip. Now that we have the proper stance and the proper grip, it is time to release the Frisbee. But first, there are two things you need to do. Number one, the aim. Now you see her pointer finger is pointing right at the person who is intended to catch. Once you've aimed, you can curl the Frisbee into your body, which is called the curl. So we have the aim, we have the curl. Next is the release. In the release, you will unfurl your arm in a quick motion and snap your wrist at the end. And you will let go right as your pointer finger is pointing at your catcher. So now, our dear Gabby will demonstrate this.
Go.
Now that you know how to throw your Frisbee, you must learn how to catch it. So now here's our catcher. The Frisbee is coming from this direction towards our catcher, but unfortunately the catcher is at the moment distracted, has bad posture, and is not facing the Frisbee thrower. Now this is a recipe for disaster. So, first, the catcher needs to turn around to face the Frisbee thrower. Now, unlike the thrower, the catcher does not need to have a 90-degree angle in their feet, and they can just face directly forward. Now, once the catcher is alert, attentive, and ready for action, they will have their catching stance. Knees slightly bent, ready to move side to side in case the Frisbee does not go straight. Now, there are 3 different catches that we will learn today. The first catch, and probably the easiest, is the pancake catch. It is something where you put your bottom hand and top hand and sandwich your Frisbee. Now let's watch this catch in action. Now that we've learned the pancake catch, and probably the simplest catch, it is time to advance our education. Now, we have the hug catch. So if the pancake catch, if your arms don't quite make it and the Frisbee gets to your chest, you can always try giving it a big hug. Now try the hug catch. Beautiful. Okay, now let's watch this catch in action. Beautiful hug catch. We have the crab catch, and maybe the most advanced catching method ever created. So, you can do it with 2 hands or with 1 hand, because maybe the Frisbee is flying way over there. Now, we'll show you both catches, but first our catcher needs to get used to the motion of climb. Try with 1 hand, and with 1 hand, you see. Now let's watch the double-handed catch in action. We've seen the double-handed catch in action. Let's see a scenario where we might have to do just 1-handed catch. Wow! Now you know how to throw a Frisbee. And so when your friends suggest the activity, you don't have to run away and cry, you can join and play.